welcome to Crushing Kayfabe. My name is Jason Garish. Thank you for tuning in. Before we get things rolling, obviously Raiders with a win over the Browns. Not that big of a deal, I guess, there, but offense, at least from the numerical standpoint, still looking horrible, man. We gotta get rid of that coordinator. But hey, a win's a win, and I'll take it, right? Aside from that, sending out condolences to Chris Christopherson's family. It's a sad thing to see him go. Ridiculously talented songwriter right there, and highwayman, so I gotta respect him. And wrote a bunch of different hits. Just contributed greatly to not just country music, but pop music, rock music in general. And from everything I've read, everything I've seen, just seemed to be a real cool guy. So rest in peace, Chris Christopherson. We're sad to see you go. More and more legends, as always, seem to be dying out, unfortunately, and it's a really, really sad predicament. But thank you. We gotta appreciate them while they're here, and thank them for what they've given us. So, gentleman asked me through messages to review a pay-per-view or /PLE. Gonna see what I can do. Let's see. Unfortunately, my time is extremely limited recently, but I'm gonna look at the length of the PLE and try to see if I can work something in, because I'm really grateful for people that listen. I appreciate the heck out of that. Thank you so much for taking the time to reach out to me. I appreciate the heck out of that. You have no idea, man. Thank you. But I'll see what I can do. I make no promises, but I'll see what I can do. Let's get into wrestling. I know there's probably a billion things to cover. The Netflix Vince McMahon documentary is out. I have not seen any of it, unfortunately. I have listened to some podcasters that have. I know, Missionary from Wrestling Sloop gave his opinion with Kevin Castle on Wrestling Soup, and Kevin had only seen the one episode at that point. He's probably seen more now. I haven't listened to the latest Don Tony Kim Castle or Wrestling Soup, unfortunately. But kind of sounds like a retread of what we already know. Probably not geared more towards non-wrestling fans, it sounds like. I don't know. I'll save my verdict until I see the actual documentary and wait. Unfortunately, Vince McMahon did release a statement kind of downplaying the whole thing and saying that, painted him in a negative light, obviously, which Janelle Grant's lawyers responded in turn with a statement counter-stating that and saying, with some very negative things there. So mudslinging is starting. We'll see how this all turns out. I still think that they're holding out on the case to see if there's any actual criminal investigation that will go on. So that'd be interesting. From what I understand, Vince even reached out to TKO and whatnot to endeavor to try to quell some of the things that were said in the documentary. And from what I understand, he actually tried to buy the rights to it at one point, which Netflix apparently refused to sell. So that's a rumor, obviously, but yeah, from what I understand, from what I've heard, it doesn't paint him in that negative of a light. It sounds like there's more family-oriented stuff that paints him as a jerk more than what goes on with the Janelle Grant lawsuit. But I'm looking forward to watching that in some ways. Other ways I'm not, because I feel like I'm probably going to have to take 1,000 showers to try to wash that stench off of me. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Should be interesting to watch. I'll try to watch that with my wife and see what happens. Not something I'm going to watch in front of the kid, obviously. So we'll have to wait till he goes to bed to watch that. But let's get back to WWE. SmackDown was in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Randy Orton opens the show. Cody comes out to talk. Then KO comes out. And of course, per the script, Bloodline interrupts. Fans are chanting OTC. Which sets up a tag team match later. KO kind of says, Cody, you got your thing later on with tagging with Roman, and just wants it to be Randy Orton and KO versus the Bloodline. Let's see, we had a segment with Tiffany and Nia Jax. Nia actually grabs Tiffany by the throat at one point during this segment, so we've got more tension between Nia and Tiffany, teasing a breakup there. Eventually, Tiffany's going to cash in on Nia. Obviously, it's glaringly obvious. Ended up having Bayley versus Naomi, which was in response to the tornado tag. I'm sorry, which was last week. And we had Bayley winning that. We had Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes, 6 in the series, with Carmelo Hayes evening up the series. I'm guessing we're going to have a best of 7 series now. I'm not going to complain. They're great matches. I just, neither one of these guys is really over, and I think they're using their wrestling abilities, at least from a booking standpoint, to try to get these guys over and make them big stars. I like Andrade. I really do. Carmelo Hayes, I like, but I think he's too small, and I hate to say it. I'm so sorry. I just think he's too small to be a major star. Maybe upper mid-carder at best, or stick him in a tag team. I think he'd be amazing in a tag team. There's plenty of guys coming up from NXT you could probably pair him off with, and it would be great, So I'm expecting another match in that series. That should be fun. LA Knight and Andrade get into it afterwards. We had Mia Yim versus Piper Niven, with Mia Yim winning, which sets up the whole Chelsea Green Mia Yim thing. That should be fun. I kind of wish they'd do more with Piper, but actually I wish they'd do more with both of these girls, Chelsea and Piper. I think they're both great talents. Chelsea is so charismatic, and she's very good, underrated in the ring. So, and Piper, I don't know. I know she's not getting over. The fans really don't care, but I like her still. And I think she's a talent that can be used. I like a lot of the girls that don't fit the cookie cutter images. I really do. I can't stand a lot of these, Barbie doll wrestlers that they get, and it drives me nuts. But I like the bigger girls. I like the girls that look like they could kick your ass, and Piper Niven, to me, is one of those girls. I do think she probably has to lose a little bit of weight, just because she's starting to look a little awkward in the ring. And I don't remember her being that bad in the ring, because in the indies she seemed to perform much better and whatnot. So maybe she does have to lose a little bit, work a little bit harder on that, just to and to prevent injuries too. Because you look at what Nia Jax has done to her knees, and she has a tough time moving, and she can't move quick, obviously. But Mia Yim wins. KO versus RKO and versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. I should say KO and RKO versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. We had the Bloodline winning this with, a screw up by Cody Rhodes, some interference there from Cody Rhodes, setting up, I guess, a feud between KO and or Randy Orton. This is probably going to set up, a feud between Orton and Cody, or KO and Cody. We are going to get, I think, Cody versus Rock at some point, and I think we're going to get Cody versus Roman again at some point. We're going to have to go through this phase where they go through this whole bloodline story, and that's a beautiful thing about this bloodline story. There's so much more meat on the bone. They could do so much with this, but I think a WrestleMania event is going to be Cody versus The Rock at some point, and I think it's going to be Roman versus The Rock at some point. So there's a lot of meat left on this bone, man. I think they got so much more to do with this. Really do. Raw, WWE Raw. We had Dom and Liv in the ring. Rhea interrupts, says that Dom will be in a shark cage for the match at Bad Blood. We had Ludwig versus Sammy after that. Sammy wins. Gunther still saying no to this whole thing with Sammy's challenge towards him. You know, and Ludwig not taking the bait where Sammy tried to turn him against Gunther. Let's see, we had Dragon Lee versus Carlito. Dragon Lee winning. You know, and Carlito was the guy who took Dragon Lee out of that whole match with LWO, and when Carlito was still in LWO. Apologize for not being able to talk. After that, we had Miz versus Bronson Reed, with Strowman interrupting, and Reed with, or should say, Strowman intercepts Reed on the way to the ring. So, security out, yada yada. So obviously that match equaled nothing, a whole lot of nothing burger. This is the first time in a long time that I've been invested in either one of these guys. I'm not a Strowman fan, I'm not a Bronson Reed fan, but I'm loving this feud because it's just two big guys beating the absolute hell out of each other. I think it's great. Destroying things, being monsters, and that's the booking has been brilliant for Bronson Reed after he destroyed Seth Rollins. I mean, it's been absolutely brilliant. This is what his booking should have been all along, instead of the jobber that he was. You know, so really, really liking this feud a lot. And I hope it has a good payout when these two do get together. Let's see, Saturday night's main event is coming back. We saw commercial for that, promo for that. You know, obviously the Miz versus Bronson Reed is no contest. We had Drew heading out to the ring. Good promo. Drew's been doing the best work of his entire career lately with this feud versus Punk. Next week we got Bronson versus Braun in a last monster standing. So that should be fun. I still don't think that's going to be the culmination of it, though. This needs to culminate in a match at a pay-per-view. We had Pete Dunne beating up Sheamus with a cricket bat. That's creative. Okay. We had a promo that a lot of people didn't get. I didn't get initially until I looked at it again, and it's a promo for the Lucha Brothers. You had Rey Fenix, RP, and I think the other was P, if I'm not mistaken, for Penta. Penta Cerro, I'm assuming they're going to use because AAA, I think, still has the rights to Pentagon. I could be mistaken, but these guys apparently are going straight to the WWE main roster. And the guys in Motor City Machine Gun, who I love. Love them in TNA. Love their feuds with Beer Money, is going to NXT to kind of help the younger generation along, help them out. Lucha Brothers, I think it might be a mistake bringing them straight up to the main roster. I think this might be one of Triple H's mistakes. These guys need to learn the WWE, method of wrestling, and they need to get into the farm system, I think. I'm sorry. Are they great? Absolutely. They're amazing on the indie circuit and AEW. They're one of the greatest tag teams out there. But they also, as they displayed in AEW, and Chris Jericho got on them for this, is they don't necessarily fit cohesively with the American style of wrestling, specifically the WWE style of wrestling, with the no tags, the stuff like that. I think they're going to have some issues. This might be another Sin Cara moment / Mystico moment, unfortunately. So I'm hoping they do well. I'm praying for them because I really do like these guys. I like them a lot. And I think they're going to be amazing, but they might, plus there's a language thing, which is going to be a problem. These guys don't speak English very well. It's going to be hard for them. Maybe they can work with the LWO for a little while and try to get them first in the WWE method of working. I don't know. That would be my recommendations, obviously. But this might be a mistake, unfortunately. But are they great? Heck yeah. I'm excited to see them WWE ring as long as they don't screw it up. This might be one of Triple H's misses, though. He might end up having to send them down to NXT to work with some teams down there. Heck, he might have them work with Motor City Machine Guns for a little while. Who knows? Real cryptic vignette they showed, obviously. Initially, it was funny. It looked like Norse runes initially. I wasn't sure if the Viking Warriors are coming back, but it was for the Lucha Brothers. Let's see. We had Unholy Union versus Damage Control, with Damage Control winning. We had American Made versus New Day, with American Made winning. This is just foreshadowing more of a giant rift between Kofi and Xavier Woods, really. That's basically all this was for. But, let's see. Really good vignette from Damian Priest. Another Wyatt 6 promo. I'm just thinking of who their next opponents can be. I say, once you get the... See, this is bad because the next logical feud for them would be against Judgment Day. There's so many times when Judgment Day turned against their own, and that's fitting into the MO of why the Y6 is kind of formed and what their mission is. Makes me wonder if Judgment Day is the next logical choice for them to feud with. But the Judgment Day is still doing this Liv Morgan and Liv and Dom feud right now. Against Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, I should say. Why not start this side thing with the Y6 then? That's where I think they should go with this. End the American Made feud, push that out of the way, and be done with it. The American Made, it seems like at least Chad seems to have moved on. He's mentioned he's moving on to other things. So I think it's time for them to go after the Judgment Day. I think it's time for them to they need to go across shows too, across branding, because there are other candidates that they can go against. Because the factions, I mean, there's a lot of them, but how many fit the bill? With the Y6 going after. To me, the ones that stand out the most are Judgment Day and Bloodline. Reasons being, both of those turned against their family and against their friends, against their own. So, those are the logical choices for me. We had more turmoil backstage between Woods and Rey Mysterio. So we're going to have Xavier Woods versus Rey Mysterio. Let's get to the big one, though. One that everybody's talking about. Jey Uso versus Bron Breakker. Jey beats Breakker. My first response was, why? Why are they doing this? Does this take steam out of Bron Breakker? I guess we'll find out tonight on Raw. But, because they need... How they can properly book this to elevate Bron, I think, because they had him... All right, he's making rookie mistakes. Yes, he's got all the potential in the world. How he takes that next step now, I think, is prolonged feud against Jey Uso, and then ultimately beating him and getting his belt back, the Intercontinental Championship. That's my opinion. That's how I'd book it. Because they're going to need to get the most out of Jey and Bron here before they have to somehow pull them into the Bloodline feud. They somehow got pulled, Jey, I should say, into the Bloodline feud. Because ultimately that's going to be the payoff, I think. We're going to have this surprise return with Jimmy and all this, and having Sammy getting used within that feud to eventually bring the Bloodline down. And I'm wondering if that's going to culminate. If you're booking this to lead to a prolonged elevation of the Bloodline, they've got to beat Cody and Roman. But I have mixed feelings on that, because then it makes kind of Cody and Roman, not only does it kind of make Cody and Roman look weak, unless you have interference from outside sources, then, which they will, because it's a Bloodline. Yeah, I say have them beat Cody and Roman. That way you build the Bloodline up and prolong this even more. And it shows a need to bring in Jimmy and Jey Uso and Sammy and whatnot. And bring back Paul Heyman. Would be the smart bet, I think. That's just my own personal opinion. But hey, looks like we're coming up on the 5-minute mark, or a 5-minute warning, I should say. I don't have a 2-minute warning. I have a 5-minute warning as opposed to football. Congratulations, Raiders. I'm happy on their win. Hopefully they can keep it up and fix this offense. This offense looks horrible. Great personnel, except for at quarterback, and the offensive line is not doing well. I'm wondering if they should have kept the previous coordinator, if that would have been a better situation. I think they wanted, and his name eludes me, I'm so sorry, but I think they wanted him to work on the running game, and it's not helping anybody at this point. It's not passing game's horrible, running game's horrible. Maybe it's time to bring AOC in to try to manage some games. Even though they won, so what? It's still not showing me what I need to see on paper and on the field. But hey, please check us out on CrushingKayfabe.com, on Patreon.com. For $1 a month, you can become a patron. Let's see. Go check us out then and now. We've got a booth there. Check out some of our stuff we're selling, our sales there. As always, continued prayers. Then now is in Trenton, Tennessee, downtown Trenton. As always, check us out. Like I said, YouTube, Patreon, on Spotify. All the places, usual places except for Apple. I don't know what the billing issue is there, but I still haven't been able to clear that up, which breaks my heart. And I feel like I'm pounding my head against the wall. But yeah, we'll see what we can do with everything, and prayers and thoughts going out to all those who suffered from Helene. I think they're saying not to send donations now or volunteer, which to me sounds absolutely insane. But I hope they find the people that are missing. I hope they're able to get some some compensation from insurance and whatnot. I hope everything turns out okay, and I'm deeply sorry for those people that lost lives and lost loved ones throughout this tragic event. So prayers going out to them. Prayers going out to Ukraine, to Israel. Bad situations all around for all those things. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate everyone's support, and I thank everyone that takes their time to listen and watch weekly. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you. Appreciate it greatly. Thank you very much. Tell a friend. Share a link. Tell a friend if you can. It doesn't cost a dime, and it doesn't take very long, and it means a world of good. And I appreciate it greatly. Thank you so much for tuning in. And God bless. Thank you.